Define irony. Well, I'm also doing this for an update for people to see that me and my wife's doing all right. We're getting by. But about, what's it, about 2020, I think. It was before the pandemic. An old buddy of mine returned to my life, helped bring me back. I was in a very depressed state with PTSD and everything, and I hadn't played guitar in like 15 years. He brought one, left it at my house, and just abandoned it and left. I could get a hold of him for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And then he called me from a random number and asked me if I picked it up. And I said, "What?" He says, "You know what?" I said, "Yeah." And F you, Mike. And he goes, "Where is it?" I said, "It's in my lap right now." And it was. I was able to play again. He said, "All right, come get me." But that same guy, uh, he was at the house, and I do my best to try to help people. I know what it's like to need and not have. Uh, I said I was lucky enough in life to learn that lesson early and be appreciative of what I got, and also not to be selfish with it. But we was walking in my yard. It had 4 acres out there. The house had burnt, and we was about to the end of the fence. The neighbors right in front of me were a good preacher and his wife living now, and a good friend of mine. Uh, yeah, but he turned around and he said, "Man," he goes, "people are going to take advantage of you. You're going to lose stuff." And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, "Mike," I said, "I never risk anything I'm not willing to lose. And what's the point of having it if you can't use it?" And I turned back around toward my house, and the irony of what I said that in that moment, uh, well, it's been tested, and I still stand by it. I turned around, I was looking at my house, and I said, "Mike, turn around, look at this." He turned around and he looked at it. I said, "You see everything I got here?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "It's a lot." I said, "Yeah. I never risk anything I'm not willing to lose." And you see all this right here. I said, "I'm not talking bad about my family or my mom or anything. It's just an expression." I was born in a ditch. I mean, we didn't have much." And I said, "Look what I got now." I said, "I think I'm doing all right. So why not try to help out others?" And he kind of nodded. And I said, "I could lose all this tomorrow. It could burn down and be nothing but a pile of ash. There'd be some things I might miss, kind of, there's some of the niceties. But I said, I'll be just fine as long as I have Debbie, my wife." I said, "That's all I need." I said, "Man, her started with nothing, and here we are." I said, "I know we can survive with nothing because we already have. If it gets back to that point, at least this time we got experience and actually more resources and more connections than we had when we were 17, 18 years old." I said, "But I'll be just fine as long as I have her." He looked at me and "Man," he goes, "I believe you." I said, "I hope you do because it's the truth." It got tested. It hasn't been easy, but at the end of the day, as long as she's okay, I'm happy. And I thought it would hurt her more than it did, and it did hurt her. But she's been my rock. I mean, I thought if either one of us lost it, or not lost it, not meaning in a bad way, I just broke. That I was worried to death about it being her. Like she was more fragile than what she is. She kept me from breaking. She's kept me going. So, in that aspect, I guess I might have been one that's more fragile. But true to my word and how I felt in that moment and how I still feel, as long as she's okay and she's with me, I'm fine. We lost everything in the blink of an eye. The next day it was ash. Nothing from it. My words, almost to the letter, the test I said that I would pass, happened. And it's still happening. But you know what? We're both still breathing. It's getting better every day. We still got each other. Challenge accepted. Debbie, get you at home again before something happens with me. That way you don't have to worry about being reliant on somebody just to get by. You can be choosy. I don't want you alone, but I don't want you stuck either. I love you, baby.